Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyer Show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me today is the fly by herself, Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle.
Bill, hello.
Are you still doing the flyby? Is it still you? You got to delegate.
I've delegated pretty much everything else. It's the one thing that I keep doing out of guilt mostly.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to keep doing it or I'm useless and not really a productive member of society.
That's when I think
It's
Kelly
normal.
Hinkle, I think not a productive member of society.
Totally.
You know, and giving people water all throughout the state of Delaware. Because you're Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, it's me.
That's who that did that,
Wait,
right?
Margaret Thatcher,
No.
that's an insult. I'm not Margaret Thatcher.
No, that's not who's the one who carried
Mother Teresa?
carried the buckets of water. It's like it's from like history class in 4th grade.
I don't know.
I don't think it's Margaret Thatcher at all. I think that's a totally different person.
No, she's bad.
We need Charlie for this.
We do need Charlie, the history major. Tell us in the comments who Bill is talking about.
It was like water bucket lily or I don't know. Anyway.
It's going to be a good show.
Let's get to the show.
You can tell.
Yeah. Dad's not here. So Kelly and I get to do whatever the hell we want. And when Charlie's not here, you know I love to do a mailbag because he doesn't love when we depend on the mailbags.
Well,
he just thought last year I was like, Mailbag Monday still on Thursday. Really? What are we doing? And I was like, it's
we're
so
answering
easy,
the people's questions.
But
we're giving them what they want.
This is our only non-game day show this week.
Yeah.
So Tuesday we have pre and post, Wednesday pre and post, and Saturday and Sunday pre and post. So 5 shows is the only one. So I want to talk about what the people want to talk about. But first, Flyers are back in practice today. They are 1-3-1 in this young season. It looks like they're getting some reinforcements, though. As I've dubbed him, Nicky Norris. Nick Seeler appears to be on his way back. It sounded like he confirmed today to Jordan Hall and some of the beats that he will be making his debut on Tuesday against Washington. That means Emil Andre has been sent down, and we have some new lines once again, Hinkle, courtesy
we sure do have some lines.
Courtesy of Jordan Hall. All right. Forster, Frost, Konechny, Tippett, Paling, Michkov,
Sure.
Farabee, Coots, Brink,
all right,
and Delorier, Cates, Hathaway. Lawton wasn't at practice because his wife is apparently in labor, so they're expecting a child imminently. And Luchanko was the extra, so perhaps Lawton draws back in Tuesday, depending on paternity leave or whatever, however this stuff works in the NHL. You probably get like 12 hours or something. And if not, it looks as if Delorier could possibly make his season debut. First things first, Luchanko possibly being a scratch. How do we feel about that?
I'm guessing that that's what they're going to do on back-to-backs. It seems like he's going to get in one and then not the other. So I guess maybe he'll be out tomorrow and then be in on Wednesday, which, whatever. That's fine. They're stretching it out.
It's stretching it out a little. Now, I think if he doesn't play tomorrow, that would make game number 9 Halloween if he plays the rest of the way. They do have other back-to-backs this week, though, so it could go even...
Yeah, why wouldn't you have 2 back-to-backs in a single week, Bill?
Yeah, Yeah, you're off Thursday and Friday, and you play the day that college and pro football play. Sure, makes sense.
Great.
Whatever, NHL. Keep up the good work. 6 o'clock puck drop tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah.
It's that Frozen Frenzy thing where I think all the teams play.
Yeah, on a Tuesday.
So they stagger all the games, and it's better than last year when we played at 11 in Vegas.
That's true.
Not only was it a late game, it started an hour later than usual.
Yeah,
so I'll take the 6 over 11.
Fair.
But yeah, I would prefer Luchanko play just because I want to watch and talk about Jett Luchanko.
Right.
But if it's one game and then he plays usually, and then he gets to be in the pros a little longer before they make the decision, practice with the team a little longer, be an NHL player. Makes sense to me. You think he's staying or you think he gets sent back? What's your gut feeling on Jett right now?
Last week my gut feeling was that there was no way he was going down.
Yeah.
This week, I've swung all the way into the other direction, only because, he's not failing. We were talking about this before the show. He's not failing by any means, but he's also not really succeeding. He's got no points. He's not really he's doing stuff, but he's not, you would like to see some points from your gifted center. And also the fact that the team looks like this.
Yeah. Talked about how he's not getting much help in Guelph.
Yeah,
he might be better off.
Right, because here's the thing: like, if this is what the season's going to be like, and like it could be, we're only 5 games in, so solid chance everything is completely different in 2 weeks. But if this is the kind of season we're looking at, like, I don't really see a point to him being here.
I still, again, I know my bias is shaded towards it's like more fun if it's Luchanko, Farabee, and Brink than if it's like Lawton, Farabee, and Brink or whatever.
Is, yeah.
But I still want him to be here. I don't know if it's for the content or not. Like, I can't tell.
Everything's
but
for the content.
Like, he seems to be doing just fine. That said, like you mentioned, 4 games played now, no goals, no assists, -3, 2 penalty minutes, 3 shots on goal in 10 attempts. So he's definitely fitting in that regard.
Yeah, right.
Averaging about 14 minutes a game. He's 17 for 37 in the faceoff dot, so about 46%. Not getting crushed.
No.
And honestly, like, a rookie's going to be under 50%.
Yeah.
Like, he's held up a little better than I expected, but the team as a whole has a long way to go in the faceoff circle, quite honestly.
They're all pretty bad.
6 hits. He's doing some stuff. He's looked okay. I'm looking forward to seeing the 9-game sample size. He has 5 games left before they have to make a decision. I've gone back and forth as well. Like, the way they were using him against Edmonton, it's like, well, how can you send him back?
Exactly.
You're basically saying he's the best center on the team.
Exactly, yeah.
Especially in these situations where, like, against Washington or whatever, okay, Morgan Frost can lead all centers in minutes. But when the other team has Connor McDavid, we are going to be playing Jett Luchanko 5 minutes against him straight up.
And he did well.
That tells me you think he might be your best center. I wasn't sure how you could even make the argument. Torts is basically putting it in a position where you'd be taking away one of his 6 best forwards.
Right.
But now he's the extra coming in, and they're going to want to work Noah Cates in a little bit more. And
Are they?
They're just moving the lines around so much. I'm going back and forth, but I'm looking forward to seeing the next 5 games of his.
I think that him coming out is less about like any kind of evaluation of his play, and I think it's more that just like Torts doesn't want him to go back. So he's just going to stretch it out as long as he possibly can. And the back-to-back games are a good excuse.
Yeah,
to do it.
That might be the best explanation for it. Is Torts wants him.
Sometimes I get one.
Torts wants him around.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about it, like, and now it sounds like in the next CBA, 19-year-olds will have AHL eligibility possibility. And they've talked about even tearing this one up at the Stanley Cup final and enacting a new one, which would be incredible for this league. But not saying Jett is bound for the AHL. But if that were to happen next year, like, Torts really likes this guy.
Yeah.
And as we're going to get into, he might not be long for this, like, just with his contract, his age, how long coaches typically last in this league.
Mm-hmm.
This might be his best shot to be a part of this kid's long-term development as a head coach, at least.
Yeah.
He wants him around. He wants as much as he can get. And if it's stretching this by, we're going to sit you in the back-to-backs and you get to hang around for another week or 2. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't really care how long it takes for him to get to the 9 games. He's definitely going to get to 9.
Yeah.
And then either Tortorella is going to get his way. I think regardless of what Luchanko looks like, Torts wants him here.
Yeah.
Or we're going to see if Danny Briere and Keith Jones take his toys away, which if they think it's the best thing to do, they ought to. That's honestly the most interesting thing to me, because it really does seem like Torts has an outsized influence on the construction of this team. And I know that coaches always have some influence over roster construction, but I need to see that Danny Briere is the boss. Like, he needs to be the boss.
It's just so hard without it seems as if the 9-game tryout is all Torts. Like, that's him. And we have heard both Danny and Jonesy say they believe in the development path. You dominate a level and then move up, and then, it's a ladder.
Yeah.
But there are like Matvei Michkov is here right away, and he's first line, first power play right away.
Yeah, you're not ruining him.
There are exceptions. Like Emil Andre made the team out of camp last year. Tyson Forster didn't even have that great a camp and made the team out of camp last year. Yeah. They have made certain exceptions for guys.
Right.
So maybe they look at Jett Luchanko as he's exceptional, so we make exceptions. Maybe they're all in lockstep here.
Yeah.
It's just hard to know.
Right.
But we'll get a better idea of it after, when game number 10 is upon us for this team.
Yes, exactly.
All right, I want to look at the defense real quick, and no real changes. York Sandheim stay together. Zamula Risto stay together. Johnson moves to the press box. He was the extra today as Nick Seeler joins Jamie Drysdale on that pair. And all is well now. Team's fixed. Defense is going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah, you thought Matvei Michkov was the savior of this hockey team. It's actually Nick Seeler. If it doesn't look better, I'm going to be very upset. Like, I need it to instantly look better. I'm giving them no grace. He needs to come into the lineup first shift, has to look amazing. Otherwise, I'm going to be annoyed by the whole thing. But it's definitely better for Drysdale because Erik Johnson is what he is.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot, I think, of developing that Drysdale can do next to Erik Johnson. He's just kind of like survive next to Erik Johnson. Whereas I think Nick Seeler is competent enough, at least what we've seen in the past, competent enough that Drysdale maybe will feel a little bit more freedom to do stuff, and maybe we'll see a little bit more out of him.
I have liked certain elements of Drysdale's game, and I know some people have been pointing out the plus minus number for Jamie, and it's not great. Listen, he's -7 in 5 games. But honestly, to me, that's more a function of his lack of offense than lack of defense right now. Like, I don't think his defense has been terrible.
No,
like, the
really.
way he looked last year with the bar on the ground, like, he has not been nearly that bad defensively.
No.
I think we just need to see a little more offense out of him now.
That would be nice.
And granted, this doesn't play into, like, plus minus, but this power play, it looks way better. A small change that needs to happen. Jamie Drysdale carrying the puck for entries. He keeps slingshotting it back to Travis Konechny.
Yeah.
And that's not really TK's thing. Like, I want the puck on Drysdale's stick a lot more. Hopefully that comes with confidence and with coaching. But I just need to see a little bit more offense out of him right now.
So I don't want to throw something at you that you weren't prepared for.
Oh,
Somebody tweeted the power play combos today. It wasn't Charlie because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
But they were
Charlie's in Vegas. He's coming home from Vegas. He will be joining us, for the rest of the week. But we'll allow him yet another day off.
I guess.
I suppose. But go ahead, Hinkle.
I'm useless. Oh, here they are. It was Jordan Hall, of course.
Of course.
First unit, Drysdale, Frost, Konechny, Michkov, Tippett. Second unit, Zamula, Paling, Couturier, Brink, Farabee. That one's weird.
I guess Paling just slots in where Jett Luchanko has been.
I know we're probably gonna get to this. We're already doing Ryan Paling. We're already.
It's game 6.
It's game 6. We're already second line with Matvei Michkov, Ryan Paling. Now he's on the power play. Why?
We didn't talk about that part when we talked about the forwards. Tippett, Paling,
Michkov. I hate everything about that. Everything about that is bad to me.
That is a ton of speed to put with Mish.
They are fast.
Yeah.
But, and then what?
Yeah. I wish Mish had a little bit more of a give and go partner like he had with Morgan Frost. Mm-hmm. It seems like those two are developing a little bit of chemistry.
Yep.
It doesn't seem as if they're all that crazy about Michkov and Konechny together, even though I thought for the most part they looked good. There were times it was like, hey, all 3 guys are on the right side of the ice. What are we doing?
Yeah, I just think Michkov needs to be on.
I think they just both need to be right wingers, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But I'm just very...
So
I guess they just don't have any set. Like, that is the problem.
Say,
is who do you want to put where? Because I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, I've liked what I've seen somewhat out of Sean Couturier the last couple games. I thought he's had a little bit more jump. I thought he's been a little bit more physical. All that stuff is good. He's had a few chances. It has been 30 games since Sean Couturier's last goal, going back to last season. He has 1 goal in his last 42 games, I think.
Okay.
Like, that's really bad. Everyone scores once every 30 games.
Sure. But, okay, so that's a weird sample because, as we know, he started to really fall off at the end of last year because he was exhausted, apparently. This season, I don't know what John Tortorella is doing with him, which is a whole other conversation that we probably need to have.
He does find himself back at center and back in the top 9.
Wow. That's great for him. What a concept.
At least without Lawton in the lineup, this could all change.
Yeah, I just think that like the way that this lineup seems to be struggling to come together, like they just have too many right wings. Like they got to do something about it. Somebody's got to get traded.
It is very much a problem that you have basically one left-handed winger in Joel Farabee. You have a lefty in Mish, who's most effective on the right side, and every other winger is right-handed.
Yeah.
Some guys can play their offside, but you're really jumbled right now.
Either somebody needs to get real comfortable on their offside, or Danny Briere needs to like activate himself. And at some point this season or in the summertime, because I mean, this isn't the Stanley Cup year.
No.
If they figure it out, it could be a fun year where maybe they're on the bubble, maybe they sneak in. Cool. But this isn't the Stanley Cup year. So he's got to do something to balance out this roster.
Because I was saying this, I think, in a conversation with Dan Knightley today. Like, yeah, these lines are crazy. Like, Ryan Poehling centering Owen Tippett, your second or third, your second highest paid forward in Owen Tippett, and Matvei Michkov, your best player.
Yeah.
Like, that shouldn't be.
No, I mean, I get it. Poehling's fast, but like, that's not enough of a thing.
But I am really struggling to come up with all 4 lines make sense combinations because I don't think there is one.
There probably isn't.
Especially with Coots in his current form. Even with Lawton maybe feeling like I just don't know how you make it all make sense.
I do think there are pieces though. Like I feel like from what we've seen, I feel like it's extremely clear that Michkov and Frost need to be a locked combination. What you do over here, figure it out. But those two should be together and they should stay together because if they're going to continue to develop chemistry, they have to play together for an extended period of time. We can't shuffle the lines every shift if anyone's going to figure it out. So like at least when you start to figure out, it's like when you're doing a puzzle and you have like a few pieces together, but the whole picture isn't there yet. Like you keep those pieces together while you're figuring out the rest.
Fair.
So like at least I would like to see Torts, like when he gets an answer to one of these questions, keep that answer going and then try to figure out the rest of it. But right now he's just like literally, it seems like throwing names into a hat and picking them out. And that's what we're going with. I
think we have a question about it. I'm not sure if we're going to get to it today or if it's going to be, we're doing mailbag questions today in just a moment. And then I am going to, at some point this week, record the rest of the mailbag because we got so many questions and I want to get to everyone's, or as many as I can. So stay tuned for that. If you don't hear your question answered today, good chance you hear it later this week. But he needs to help a little. He needs to be disciplined too. This is what I was saying to JP. Like the team is undisciplined right now in so many ways. Way too many stick penalties. Way too many just D-zone failures. Like missing the net. Just so much things that I think come down to the word of discipline. John Tortorella also has to exhibit some discipline and just like, okay, this isn't working, but I'm not going to throw the lines in a blender after 2 shifts because somebody needs to build some chemistry with someone.
Exactly.
I just really want to see Forster, Frost, Michkov.
Yeah, I don't know why that can't just just do that.
And to that point, I really want to see Tippett, Luchanko, and Konechny just to put that sort of speed pressure on a defense.
Would be cool.
And if Poehling wants to be that center, if they want to use Poehling because he's fast while Luchanko's out for a game, whatever. And then you kind of just let your bottom 6 fall where it is. Like, just tell Farabee, Couturier, and Brink, figure it out, guys. Like, they do have one of the nicest goals of the season. And Bryn actually made us a goal graphic, but I'm going to, because of time, we're going to save the they need more greasy goals conversation for pregame tomorrow. So we'll have that graphic ready for you. But we're already at 4:20, and I haven't done the read yet, and we have like 50 questions. So, like, it is what it is.
Sorry.
No, we said this was exactly what was going to happen.
You did say that.
That's why I already planned on doing an extra, like an overtime mailbag recording at some point, because this was obvious. And this is a very, like, it's an interesting conversation, but I don't think it has an obvious answer.
No, it doesn't.
Especially considering, all right, they need to trade a right winger. Which one do you want to move?
I don't know.
Because Farabee is the only one that I'm, like, kind of interested in moving right now, and he's the only actual left winger.
Wait, that's the thing. He's on that side. So like you can't really trade Travis Konechny at this point. I mean, I seriously doubt anyone would trade for that contract.
Your time to trade him
was last year.
The trade deadline leading up to the day you signed him. Now that's over.
Yeah, so we're not going to trade Michkov, probably.
No,
that seems unlikely. I mean, I guess you could trade Bobby Brink, but like, what do you get for Bobby Brink?
Yeah, like he's a nice player. He started the game on a 4-game point streak. That was cool. I like what I see out of Bob, but what are you getting for him? Like, does it make the team better to move on from Bobby Brink simply because we can't figure out a roster spot for him?
Right, that's the thing, because if you're just subtracting Brink, like, we still need additions. Like, we need centers. We need guys on the other side. Like, so it can't just be a trade where you're just, like, moving out a right wing to make a hole. Like, because they need stuff. So, like, I don't know.
Like, then, okay, cool. So we have Lawton and Cates on the third line. Dope. Like, does that excite you?
Yeah, right now what? Right. I know.
I just don't think there's a great answer right now. And there's so many pieces that are, these just really don't fit. And that's the way the season's played out so far. It's like they've been close a couple of times. They've looked good at points. But for the most part, it's just like nothing.
A jumbly mess.
It's been bajiggity, some might say.
It has been bajiggity, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
We'll get into this on the other side, but I am remaining optimistic. I'm going to be willing to give them a pass retroactively if they start to get their crap together over the next couple weeks. Because it was a very weird start to the season.
It was.
That said, that can't be an excuse. Like, and like it's the first week of November, and we're like, well, we're still adjusting to the time. Like, no, we're done with that. Like, is daylight savings going to be like an issue for this team? Like, we're going to have to. But if they start to get their crap together in these 2 against Washington, they don't leave the Eastern time zone until like the last week of November now. Get it together, and I will give you a pass on the first 5 games.
I think that's fair.
But we need that.
Yeah.
All right, before we go any further today, I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor, our friends at Bet365. Because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide, live streams 780,000 events each year, and they have early payout offers across the NBA, NFL, NHL, and Major League Baseball. They've pioneered live betting, and they have the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 different sports. That's right, 78. This early payout offer, you know I've been all over this. With the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner if your team gains a 3-goal lead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. That's right. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And now that you know where to put your bet on a game, you got to know where to go to the game. How are we going to get in? I want to see this thing live. My early payout, I don't even have to worry about it, but I want to stay till the very end, and I'm going to do it with Game Time, baby. And Game Time is a brand new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live event even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Now, that's the new priority. It's the new feature. It's what they want me to tell you about, but guess what? All the old features that made Game Time great, they're still there as well. The all-in pricing where no surprises on the price. It tells you how much it is, and that's how much it is. Views from the seats where you can get a panoramic view, so no surprises there either. Lowest price guarantee. Game Time credits you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section and row for less. And Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, let's hit these questions. Hinkle, like I said, we're going to do a bunch of these. Whatever we don't get to, we're going to record later on. So if you don't hear your question answered, I might get to it. Good chance. And our first bunch are from diehard Discord members. Go to allphly.com. Sign up to be a diehard. It's a pretty great deal. All right, I wanted this to be first if we had a Coors Light today, but we don't. But we have. I'm still going to do it. S. Miller 93 with the first question. Should we all choose to chill?
The answer to this question is always yes.
And I'll reiterate my state of mind from the post game. If they start to get their crap together over this next couple of weeks, starting with these 2 games against Washington, they're home again. They only have to travel to Washington. They have a few more home games. Then they have to go up to Boston. They're not going anywhere that's terribly difficult to get to. The travel thing, we can chalk that up. Maybe it was a weird start to the season. Michkov's coming over. You're starting out on the West Coast. Jett Luchanko makes this team. Ivan Fedotov has his head up his ass. All these things, weird start. Yeah. Vancouver was on the East Coast longer waiting for the Flyers than the Flyers were home. Right. Okay. I will accept all that if the next week or so starts to look a little bit more like the first half team from last year.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. And I think it was, I was listening to Flyers Daily this morning. I think Martita said, and this was a very good point, if they went 1-3-1 in some random week and a half period in December, no one would care. It would just be not a great week for the Flyers. But it's just because it's the first games. And we're all hyped. And we really wanted it to be good.
Yeah. And we all have those
casual, some of us talk ourselves into
And we all have those casual or non-hockey fans in our life who maybe they're a little disappointed in the way the Eagles season has started. Maybe they're bummed out about the Phillies going down. And we're like, put all your hope in the Flyers. Yeah. And once again,
I brought a bunch of casuals to the home opener, and they embarrassed
me.
For
how long have we always said whenever they've had that opportunity,
they blow it?
It was a few years ago when they started out the season so well, and we were all like, it might have been 6 years ago at this point. I don't even remember. Yeah. But I think they had a primetime national game against Pittsburgh. It was the day before Halloween or on Halloween. I think they lost 7-0.
Yeah, they
they
totally
got absolutely curb stomped. Yeah. And it was
this is what they do.
Everyone just sitting there so this is the team this is what you were.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I know, exactly. My friend, I'm like, I made you guys spend $110 on these tickets. I told you would have a good time. And the Flyers embarrassed me in front of my friends. And now I'm like, these were 3 people you probably could have got because they're all disenfranchised by the other stupid, crappy teams.
We're all
and
mad.
You lost them.
Yep, right away. 5 games in, it's over.
You're just left with the sickos. It's just us.
Yes.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
Listen, we all probably need to choose to chill sometimes.
100%.
But it is, listen, we're not crazy for no reason.
Oh no, they made us this way.
Yeah. They are very much to blame, but we need to recognize that and go, why would we get our hopes up about this team that's been bad for a decade?
Yeah.
Why?
But also, I don't want to turn, and I don't want all of you people to turn into one of those man, the Flyers stink. Everything they do is bad. Those people are gross. It's okay to be excited and be hopeful and all that kind of stuff. And if they, smack you down again, they've done every year of your life, that's okay.
The hopefulness of the future kind of turned into present excitement when it was Misha's 2 points a game in the preseason. Yeah. Jett Luchanko made the team. Maybe they're good now. Who knows?
Who can say?
They did almost make the playoffs last year, and if all those young players take a step, it's it's 5 games. We have no idea who took a step and who didn't. development isn't linear. Like Forster might be worse this year, and that might be a superstar 2 years from now. Like anything is like
in 20 games, this stupid team could be good.
Yeah, they could also like win 10 in a row, and this whole thing is a joke. So
exactly.
I suppose we could all choose to chill, but this is sports talk, man. People don't want me chilling. I don't think.
No, we need to entertain you. Still,
I've been screaming at them all for 8 years, and they seem to like it. So I'm going to continue doing that. All right, our next question from Viktomize, spelled in a funny way. I just thought this was a funny name. Is the current status and near future status of this roster truly as bleak as it appears?
It does not appear bleak to me.
I really like.
What are you looking at?
They have a lot of pieces that I'm like, I'm not sure how this fits, but especially when you want to say like near future status, they have so many assets.
Yeah.
That like, I think it would be hard to really screw this thing up in the next few years.
Oh. Okay, don't say those kinds of things out loud.
I'm not saying like a cup contender. Like that's really hard to do.
No, they have enough pieces, both in personnel and picks, that if Danny Briere is good at his job, which so far seems to be all right at his job, he can build a good team. Like you have things that you can use to go out and get the players that you need. Or perhaps this year is garbage and they end up picking 6 players in, the top 30. Like that would probably be cool too. But like, I don't look at the current state of the team and think bleak anymore. Like 2-3 years ago, it was pretty bleak. It doesn't seem that bleak anymore.
No. And
I see hope in this.
There are
roster.
concerns like the Couturier contract and stuff like that, but overall, I just think they have enough assets to be able to figure this out in the next few years.
I think so too.
Yeah, like right now, we're like, well, they need to trade a right winger, and the only winger I want to trade is the only left winger. Yeah. I don't know what to do. They have no centers. Like I do think though, like there is a path.
Yes.
That's like when you talk about the near future of this roster, I don't look at it as bleak.
No, me neither. It's one of the youngest teams in the NHL. Like we're okay. Like the baseline is okay. They got to build from here, but like it's not. Bleak is not the word that I would use.
I don't think. Yeah, that's obviously they actually have to make the moves and do the things.
Yeah, they got to do the stuff.
Like, and that is it's harder than it's. Oh yeah, well you just make a trade because it's NHL GM mode.
Right.
It's like, well, what if the other team doesn't want to?
Right. Yeah, like if in 2 years none of the things have been done, like then it's pretty bleak.
Yeah, like if Morgan Frost is still our best center in 2 years, then it's like, well, Danny Briere is not very good at his job.
Exactly.
Like that's just what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but I don't. Yeah, bleak is not the word. That's why I wanted to get to that one right after the choose. Right after the choose chill, I wanted to get to the bleak question because I don't think bleak is the word I would use.
Not the word, fam.
All right, let's hit Danny Beans next. I like this one. If you could have attended any Flyers game that wasn't a cup winner, what game would it be?
Wasn't there an Eric Lindros game where he scored 3 goals against the Leafs for the team to like come back and win? I feel like that's like seared into my memory. One of those Eric Lindros games, like one of those games where he just like took over and did like a Connor McDavid where he was like, nah, we're not losing this game. And then he just like won it. Like I would have liked to see, I was too young and poor to see Eric Lindros live many times.
We went to Phantoms games.
Exactly. So I would have liked to see some of those like crazy dominant Eric Lindros performances.
Those would have been very cool. Yeah. Maybe that Eastern Conference final game against the Rangers where he scored a hat trick.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Like if it's in my lifetime, maybe that game or I had a good one. The 419 penalty minute game.
Oh,
the
that
Ottawa brawl in 04.
Yeah.
Like, I would have loved to go to that game.
That would have been good.
If I could do time machine, like and go to a Spectrum game that I wasn't alive for, it would be 76 against the Red Army.
Okay.
Or 87 Game 6, the loudest the Spectrum ever was. Everyone ever like. Yeah, I would like to 87. Game 6. That would have been neat. I would love to go to that one just because I wasn't alive. Everyone says it's like the best Flyers game ever. I never saw it. That would be cool.
It's a fun question.
There was also a playoff game in 08 that I went to that was like the most fun I've ever had at a sporting event. Sat in the very last row against Montreal.
It's low-key fun up there.
Very last row of the building, and it was the Spectrum. It was crime up there.
I love it.
It was freaking insane. I would go back to that one in a heartbeat, honestly. Tailgated the game, took up 3 parking spots. We did not have a car.
Amazing.
The whole thing,
Off
it was
to a great start.
Beginning to end, truly, truly insane.
I love that for you.
So maybe that one too, even though I was at it. All right. We're moving along pretty well here. We might get to a lot of these.
Look at us.
The Yishmeister. Hate to ask this, but how long before Fedotov is replaced? And we got a ton of Fedotov questions. This one was out of the Die Hard Discord, so I'm showing you this one. Half of our questions were Fedotov, Kolosov related. Coming into the season.
Yeah.
Before we really knew what was unfolding with Kolosov, I did think, and Charlie and I talked about this, if Fedotov just stinks,
yeah,
it might not be the worst thing. Like, all right, so he just sucks and we suck it up for a year. And then, like, I bet you they terminate his contract at the end of the season. And guess what? The Flyers are picking in the top 10. It's a bad goaltender is a great way to stealth tank.
That is a stealth tank.
You can develop your forwards and still do some things, and some other guys can look good. But guess what? You gave up 6 goals every time that guy played.
Welp.
But now you have the Kolosov factor, where it's before I was just willing to chalk it up and go, well, yeah, 1 out of every 4, we have a goalie who absolutely stinks, and that is what it is. But now I don't want to give him that kind of leash if it could potentially cost us a guy who could be part of the future.
So here's
Alexei Kolosov.
Fair, but and I don't watch Phantoms games, so I have no context for this, but the numbers I think for Kolosov are not he's not exactly lighting it up down there. So it would be one thing, I think, if he was playing lights out in Allentown and you've got Fedotov up here stinking it up, maybe then it's all right, yeah, let's make a swap here, because it's not like anyone's going to claim Fedotov if you waive him. Maybe we make a swap and we let Feddy go down and figure it out down there. We give Kolosov a chance. But what happens if Kolosov comes up and he stinks too?
Kolosov in 3 games for the Phantoms, 306 goals against, 878 save percentage. He has stopped 65 of 74. He's let in 9 goals.
So I mean, not exactly killing it down there.
And that's maybe the best thing for everyone, because it at least keeps the pressure off that decision for the time being. If it's obvious he needs to develop and get better there.
But what if Makiniemi is just a solid backup? He could be a Brian Elliott. He's just a guy. Maybe he's just fine. Maybe that's the answer.
Maybe that is the answer.
Maybe you have those two down there.
I wouldn't
being Russian together.
Yeah, maybe they
figuring out their goals.
Go be Russian.
Just go be Russian together. No one has to be sad. They have a friend.
Yeah, his complaint about not having anyone who speaks Russian.
Now he's got a friend.
Here you go.
They can both, figure it out. Split the games.
Yeah.
See what happens. Maybe that's the answer.
Be a dynamic duo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see. I would love to see, especially if this end of October thing is true, which we don't know. Elliot Friedman did say it. Elliot Friedman tends to be right.
He usually knows stuff.
But these are usually fluid situations.
And I feel like he gets a lot of stuff from agents, and maybe the agent was you better know by October.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows?
We'll see how it all plays out. But
I do think that Fedotov is going to get a longer leash than another random insert backup goalie here would get, simply because of what it took to get him here and the money and all that kind of stuff. I really think they're going to give him a long shot to figure it out. And maybe he does. Because all he has to do is just be big. Just come out of your net a little bit and be large. Problem solved.
That goal Joel Farabee scored today in practice that was on Twitter, I'm just this guy is no good. The thing I'm trying to stay positive with is those first 3 Ayerson games last year.
Yeah.
But as Charlie then pointed out, Ayerson was used to starting all the time, and he was getting rare playing because Carter Hart started the year very well, and there were explanations for it. And we'd seen him in his call up the year before in 10 games, look at least competent.
Yeah.
Ivan Fedotov, he could look better, but just the way he's playing.
I know.
He has to improve so much to be average.
He looks terrible. So here's the thing, I don't think it's impossible. I'm guessing, obviously I have no actual idea. I would imagine it's possible for a goaltender to work with a goalie coach on some fundamental things that need to be fixed, and a professional athlete goaltender can fix them. But I would imagine that because so much of goaltending is instinctual, it's going to like take him a little bit of time to like not do the thing that he's so used to doing because he can't do that anymore. Like he must be used to like going back into his net because he does it all the time. He can't do that here. He needs to be out and be big. Like that's your whole thing, dude. Go out there and be large. So I'm sure they're telling him that. And so maybe it's just going to take a little bit of time for his brain to like catch up and be like, oh wait, no, don't do that. I got to stay out. He could figure it out. I don't know.
That was Martinez did a great just like example of what he's doing on his show a couple of days ago, where he was just like, Fedotov is huge, and when he's up in front of the net, like there's nothing behind him to see.
Yeah,
you can't see the net. But what he's doing, is backing up, and now like look how much more of this shelf.
Right.
Look how much more of that shelf you can see, and that's what he's doing to the shooters.
Right.
Like, hey, here's a whole bunch of net.
Don't do that.
Maybe he can figure it out. It just looks as if, like, for a 28-year-old developmental project, it's not going so well to start.
Great. No.
But
you're not going to get any argument out of me.
Goalies are weird. He might have 5 shutouts in his next 6 games.
Exactly. You can't predict these people. They're crazy.
They are. So that's how long before Fedotov is replaced? I don't know, but I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a little bit longer.
Between 0 and 52 games.
And that's like replaced. I don't know if that ever happens.
Yeah.
I could see a situation where they have 3 goalies up.
Yeah.
And
do a little rotate situation.
Ersson remains on a starter's track, and the other 2 are sometimes one plays, sometimes the other plays.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know about replaced.
Or maybe you just like, swap them. Because again, no one's claiming Fedotov. So maybe you just swap them
a couple of
times and let Feddy get some time in the AHL. Maybe you can figure it out down there against less talented players. And then, switch them back. I don't know. There are options.
There are definitely options. I really wonder if they want to send him to the AHL. Like,
I'm sure they don't want to, but like, it might be good.
Might be. And listen, I know not everyone wants to go to the AHL, but especially in Fedotov's situation, making the money he's making.
Yeah. You know how rich you'll be in Allentown on that salary?
No escrow in the AHL.
Right.
You actually make more.
There you go.
If you're on an NHL deal, you make more. So that's what's going on with that. I don't know if he's ever replaced, but I could see a 3-goalie situation.
Yeah, I could see it.
Let's hit this next one from our pal JH. I love that you're crowdsourcing the only show that's not tied to a game.
You're welcome.
Damn right I am. It appears that there's been a combination of exhaustion and bad luck the last few games. Do you think the team/front office ever hits the panic button? And what would that even look like with so many long, high-money contracts? Or just let it ride with the team tank and clear house at the next draft? I don't know how many long, big-money contracts they have. Like, yes, Travis Sanheim, I don't like his deal that much, but it's not crazy.
Coots, I guess you can consider that one.
Coots is the only one that I'm like, oh, this thing's an albatross.
Yeah.
Like, this thing could be a prop. That's the only deal I look at that, and then I'm like, oh, this is
if you ask me, like, the coach is actively making it a problem for some reason. Like, I don't know that it has to be a problem because Coots, as you said, doesn't have points, but his underlying numbers aren't bad. They're better than most of the team. So, like, I don't know why the coach is actively making it a problem, but he seems to be doing that. But to answer this question, I don't think there's a situation in which we see any kind of panicking early in the season.
When the coach comes out before the season and says, we're still a few years away.
Yeah.
Danny has been telling us we're still a few years away. Jonesy has said, yeah, man, listen, we make the playoffs. That's cool and all. But, like, making the playoffs as the second wild card is not the goal. That doesn't really matter to us. Right. We want to build for a team in the future that is competing for cups on a regular basis, because unless you get lucky like the St. Louis Blues and just have that year,
right?
Sometimes teams have that year, but it's not like a sustainable plan.
It's not
getting lucky. You need to build a team that can compete for like 4, 6, 8, 10 years.
Yes.
And then hope you get one in that time. And if you get 2, that's basically a dynasty this day and age. Like,
yeah,
Tampa went to 3 in a row. That's inconceivable to me.
Yeah, it is wild. I think that any moves that they make this season will be like calculated long-term moves. I don't think they're going to do anything to like oh no, we have to make a trade right now or something
like for what?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if our
no
goal,
one's trading right now.
Yeah,
so.
and like if fixing this season isn't their goal, and they're just trying to evaluate certain players in the situations that they do control putting them in. Like, we're not putting Couturier. Couturier is now on the second power play, but he was getting no power play time through the first 5 games. Like, we're giving that time to, say, a Jett Luchanko. Like, we are controlling the situation, even if it hurts us in the short term.
Yeah.
I don't see them panicking when they don't seem to care that much.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think there's any
about this actual season. Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick second and pay some bills real quick before we answer a few more questions in these final 15 minutes. Let's start it out with our friends at Rite Aid. That's right, your local Rite Aid. Listen, man, it's the big games coming up, all sorts of fun Flyers games. Birds, they're back, baby. They beat a bad team. They're back. Halloween's coming up. No one wants to miss Halloween. Thanksgiving. I would like to be sick on Thanksgiving, but a lot of people really enjoy it. You probably don't want to be sick on Thanksgiving. All the holiday fun, all the sports fun that are coming up. You got to get a flu shot at Rite Aid. And while at the pharmacy, you can get the latest on all of your possible vaccinations and stay up to date on all of those. You can even ask your pharmacist for a vaccine review and recommendations because the CDC recommends getting a flu shot every year. A person's immune protection from vaccination declines over time, so you need to help protect yourself against the flu by getting your annual flu shot at Rite Aid today. According to the CDC, flu vaccination may reduce a child's risk of severe life-threatening influenza by 75%. So help protect your family and those around you by getting a flu shot at Rite Aid today. Flu viruses are constantly changing, so the only way to be up to date is to get the most recent flu vaccine, and getting vaccinated for anything you might need provides the best protection according to the CDC. And while at the pharmacy, you can always stock up on cold, cough, flu, and allergy essentials. Rite Aid has what you need to get you through the season. Just walk into your local Rite Aid or schedule an appointment at riteaid.com. State, age, and health restrictions apply. Ask your local Rite Aid pharmacist for details. All right, now you're nice and healthy. Maybe one of the things you don't want to miss, maybe it's a proposal. Maybe you're getting engaged. Maybe there's a special hot person in your life.
Oh.
Well, if you are on the hunt for a ring, like we love our teams to be, then you need to check out Golden Nugget Jewelers at 8th and Chestnut in downtown Philly. It's family-owned and operated since 1987, and if you're getting engaged, they have a wide assortment of rings and wedding bands to fit anyone's style. And so you make that choice at Golden Nugget, you can receive a final cleaning and written appraisal with every engagement ring purchase. Listen, take it from someone who's been on the ring hunt. It is stressful. You have no idea what you're doing. I don't know. How do I know about jewelry? How this is supposed to cost? Is this the right deal? Whatever it is, you can trust your friends at Golden Nugget Jeweler. You deserve an expert and the best price. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Head over to goldennuggetjewelers.com to learn more. Okay. Where were we? That was JH. So now we go to Ottogator. All right. This is an interesting one. If it became clear that there was a rift between Briere and Tortorella, and you had to decide who keeps their role and influence in the organization, and the other had to go, who do you think is the better choice to guide the Flyers in the next few years?
It's easy for me. Is it easy for you?
Yeah.
It's Briere.
It's Danny Briere.
Yeah. John Tortorella has a fixed shelf
Coaches
life.
come and go. All coaches come and go.
Yes.
Like the best coaches.
Yes.
Like I think Mike Sullivan's probably the best coach in the league. Time's up.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes it just has to happen. John Tortorella, time has run up everywhere. Everywhere he's been. Peter Laviolette, excellent coach. His time runs out, and then he goes on and gets another job and has success there. And then his time runs out, and he does it all over again. Like, the best coaches have shelf lives. Mm-hmm. Now, yeah, maybe you can build a dynasty like they have in Tampa, and John Cooper just gets to be coach forever.
Maybe.
That sounds really hard, though. It basically doesn't happen. You know?
Not really.
Like, how many coaches has Vegas already been through? And they've been to 2 Stanley Cup finals in 7 years? Like,
yeah.
They've been through a tremendous amount of coaches. They've been through GMs. If you believe Danny Briere is the guy to make the decisions for this team, as appears to be the case,
yes,
then you don't choose any coach over him. I think one of the worst mistakes this franchise ever made was choosing a coach over players, as 100%. They did in 2011.
Sure was.
Because that coach ended up getting fired anyway.
And
guess what? Yeah, every coach says, I was hired to one day be fired.
It's really hard to get players. It's really easy to just fire a dude and hire another dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, it's standard breeder.
Listen, I like John Tortorella a lot. I think for the current situation, he's a good coach for it.
He's working me lately.
He does some crazy stuff, but all coaches are bad. I say it all the time.
True. None of them are good.
None of them are good. There's not a coach there's this mythical idea of I want a progressive Swedish guy to come over and coach this team and do all the analytical stuff I want. But guess what's never going to happen? That especially on the Philadelphia Flyers. Right. Just things that are never ever going to happen. You know? The ska coach, Rottenberg, he seems like an insane person.
He probably is.
It's all coaches are bad. They all do this stupid stuff, and you just have to deal with it. Yeah. I like Torts. But that said, if I'm choosing between the GM and the coach, I'm choosing the GM every single time, as long as it's not
it's Chuck Fletcher.
Pete Chiarelli or Chuck Fletcher. Yeah. Like a guy who's actively hurting you.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, I thought it was fun, the idea of a rift between them, because we have zero evidence of that.
No,
but
not yet.
I like a good.
Give it a 5 games. Yeah, 5 more games. Yeah. Maybe we'll see a rift.
I like a good hypothetical. Yeah. A lot of people are trying to project
I know.
Well, if him and Danny disagree, maybe Danny will get rid of him.
Exactly.
It is clear that this is a 3-headed monster running this team. Mm-hmm. It is Briere, it is Jonesy, and it is Torts. And I think they are on the same page 99% of the time.
I think so.
All right. Let's go to Chad's question.
Chad.
If the team keeps looking like this, how long a leash does Torts have? Corollarily, remember when some pundits were saying Torts lost the room at the end of last season?
So here's the thing. I am extremely worried that at the end of last season and continuing into this season, he's going to be losing himself the room. He's actively losing it as we speak. Sean Couturier was named captain of this team. He seems to be a very well-liked gentleman. He has kitty cats, no front teeth. Everyone likes him. And the instant that you named him captain, you started treating him like hot garbage. Why? No one really knows. And you're continuing to do it this season. You have to think that the other guys are like, why are you doing this to him? Why is he on the wing on the 4th line on the home? What are you doing? And so I do worry that he's losing the room. That said, I don't think it matters. I don't think there's a situation in which he gets fired. I think you've said this before. Tortorella will stop being the coach when he decides he's done and wants to move upstairs.
I could see a situation where maybe they do the fire up thing.
I mean, they're definitely going to, whatever happens, he's going up.
They will not present it that way in public.
No.
In public, because we've already seen it. We've already seen at the end of seasons and throughout the preseason, Torts ain't even behind the bench.
No.
He is letting his assistants do it.
Yeah.
I could see a situation like that where it's, we're not just developing the players, we're developing a coaching staff as well, so they're going to get a shot now, and then we go from there. I do wonder, because there's some weird stuff going on, and the team doesn't look good.
They sure don't.
You get shut out. You get blown out in your home opener.
Not good.
You weren't here. You were at the game, which is its own hell.
It sure was.
But, Peter Laviolette got fired after an 0-3 start.
Yep.
They're worse than that.
Yep.
They've scored 12 goals in 5 games. That's not enough.
No, it's not good.
The defensive coverage is bad. We can blame plenty on Fedotov, and I'm sure that will be one of the first scapegoats. Is every 3 games the goalie just stinks. So what do you want us to do?
Yeah.
But I'm seeing Sam Ersson get hung out to dry in that home opener. I do wonder if the leash might be shorter. What if we do get surprised? But maybe. If I had to guess, if things start to go that way, it'll suddenly be Torts is going to do a lot more evaluation from upstairs.
Yeah.
He's as much a part of the front office as he is the head coach.
Right.
And we think we have, between Bradshaw and Darryl Williams and Rocky Thompson, there's 3 coaches right there. They're kind of going to be running the room, running the day-to-day. I can see that happening.
Yeah. I could see that.
I don't know, maybe like after the Four Nations or whatever, like maybe something like that.
Maybe.
But it is something to keep an eye on.
It is.
All right. Let's get to this question from Be the Flame, a.k.a. Kristen. Mailbag question. If not Torts, what other current coach would you want working with this lineup?
So Jim Montgomery, who both of us wanted to be
Jim
hired.
Montgomery is my top answer.
That's number one on my list. I would also not hate having Jared Bednar or John Cooper.
Yeah.
Those would be very nice.
The really good coaches.
The really good coaches. Although, like, are they really good coaches or do they just have really good teams?
I think Cooper...
You never really know because, like, Babcock, you found out very quickly that he wasn't a good coach. He just had really good teams.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like until you see those two guys coaching teams that aren't stacked, I don't really know.
Nobody wins with a bad team.
Yeah.
Maybe Craig Berube.
Yeah, he got real lucky.
Like, that's the...
Craig Berube, the only good coach.
I think no matter how good your team is, like going to 3 straight cups, and there was some extenuating circumstances like shorter seasons because of COVID stuff, like does make it a little easier. You didn't play 82 games and then go through the 4 rounds, 7, so it's a little easier, but I just think he's created a culture in Tampa that it's not just like, oh yeah, man. I mean, yeah, he has Nikita Kucherov and that might not even be his best player.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's literally no evidence to suggest what I'm saying is even remotely true.
It's always,
but like, you never know.
When you have a stacked team, it's like, well, what does the coach really do?
Yeah, exactly.
But
I do think, I think you're right. I think with those guys, it's probably less like X's and O's and more like fostering an environment that leads to players flourishing and like becoming the best versions of themselves.
A guy, and I don't think any of those dudes are going to be available anytime soon. Yeah. I guess there's an outside chance with Montgomery because Boston's weird.
They are weird.
But I think Mike Sullivan, I think Charlie and I have talked about this, like a guy who might be available sooner than later. That could be something. He did come up under Torts. Like
I'd take him.
There's some possibilities there. Mm-hmm. That said, unless your name's Scotty Bowman, nobody wins cups with 2 different teams. So there's always that history as well. True. You kind of want the dude who hasn't done it before.
Yeah.
I thought maybe with Torts, because like, he did it, but that was like before the lockout.
Ages ago.
That was 20 years ago. It was before the lockout. So that doesn't even count. It's prehistory.
Yeah, it's not real.
I was in high school. All right. But I think Mike Sullivan is the guy like who's realistic.
Yeah.
And I kind of like. I think he's an excellent coach. It's just like, what's he supposed to do now?
No, I like it.
He's got 4 Hall of Famers. They're all decrepit. Malkin looks good to start this year, though. I'm allowed to enjoy their downfall.
Absolutely. We've been waiting a long time.
You go right from Mario to this. Ugh, it's just disgusting. Let's try to get one more in here from James. Mailbag question for the show. Thanks, Bill. What does Noah Cates have to do to get into a game? He showed through his first 2 years that he is at least a competent NHL player and possibly one who can be a well above average play driver who can put up third line production.
Great question. Because in the 5 seconds that we saw him, he looked better than Ryan Poehling.
He did.
So what's the problem? And also, he can play center. You know what we don't have any of? Those.
I'm going to tell you.
I don't get it.
I'm going to tell you what it's going to take. Torts finally pulling the Coots button again.
Oh, God.
It's going to take Coots sitting or Luchanko goes back.
Yeah,
that's it. Those are the 2 possibilities. I think really that's it. I think they could use Noah Cates right now, honestly.
Of course they could. He can't hurt.
No. Not especially. I know we like him better on the wing than center, but like they have no centers.
He was 1C for a minute.
He was.
And it wasn't an abject disaster. It wasn't good, but it wasn't an abject disaster. Like, he's a fine center. And Ryan Poehling, who apparently is John Tortorella's son. I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know. But like, he can't do any wrong. He's not looked good.
He has been better the last couple games. He started out terrible.
On the whole, not been good.
Yeah. There you go.
So.
All right. A thank you to all of our diehards who joined us today. Very much appreciate all of our subscribers. If you're not a diehard, what are you waiting for? Go to allphly.com. Sign up today. It's a hell of a deal. All right. Let's hit those super chats.
Hey.
All right, 2 super chats today. I realized, it's a mailbag show, but people did send super chats, so we'll answer them. From Keith H. When talking G trades, you mentioned that TK and Michkov aren't on the table. Farabee is the only natural left winger. Is Tippett a dark horse to be traded?
It's a tough. I mean, I feel like it's tough to trade any long-term contract.
So just take that G
like
out of there. I wasn't supposed to say that G. Okay.
I feel like it's hard to trade any long-term contract like that.
Yeah. I just like Tippett is their best shot to me. I guess maybe because it's not a ton of money, and with the cap going up, perhaps. But
he would need to start scoring goals in order for anyone to want him.
Right
Apparently
now,
that's
with him shooting 0% and the team,
get the net.
I just think these guys are just going to have to figure it out right now.
Yes.
I don't expect any trades really until the summer.
Oh, no.
It's like these guys are going to have to figure it out.
Like, best case scenario, we're waiting until like February for a trade. So, like, figure it out.
Yeah. All right. And the from JH, who of the three-headed monster is the dumb drooling one?
It's Jonesy, obviously, because he's hilarious.
I mean,
there it is.
That's what he wants you to think.
I know, but he's low-key the smartest one.
That's his... have you ever seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
Gina.
Yes.
She's like, it would be harder to control people if they knew how smart I was.
Exactly.
That's what I see in Jonesy.
100%. Oh, yeah. I don't think Keith Jones is actually dumb.
No, but that's what he...
But he's that dragon, and then low-key is just controlling everyone.
And, like, Torts is insane.
Yes.
And Danny is just a smirker. So I think it all works here.
It does.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
That's a good question. I like that. And that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I ran through the schedule earlier, but listen, you don't always remember it, but check us out. Hit that subscribe button, set the reminder bell so you never miss a live show. We'll be back Tuesday and Thursday with pre- and post-game, and then we'll be back with pre- and post on Friday or on Saturday and Sunday as well. So make sure you tune in for our schedule every week. Follow us at PHLY_Flyers, pinned right up there at the top. And follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. That's it for us. I'm Bill Matz. That's Kelly Hinkle. Until tomorrow, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.